Modern life has taught us a quiet habit. When we struggle, we look outside ourselves for the answer. We medicate discomfort. We optimize behavior. We scroll for relief. And slowly, we hand our attention over. From above, the city glows, not as streets and buildings, but as a circuit, alive with signals, running on borrowed power. Neuroscience is beginning to notice something unexpected. The brain is not broken. It is simply undercommanded. There is a switch, not chemical, not technological, but cognitive. The belief that you are in control. Watch what happens when one person pauses. The noise freezes. The notifications fall silent. A single breath enters the body, and for the first time, it is chosen. Inside the mind, the prefrontal cortex lights up. Fear quiets. Focus returns. The system wakes. Practices once called mystical are now measured, mapped, and tested. Breath, attention, stillness, ancient tools, meeting modern science, reshaping neural pathways in real time. This is not escape, it is authorship. When we stop outsourcing our agency, the strings dissolve, the brain reorganizes, connections widen, possibility expands, like galaxies forming where limits used to be. You move through the same world, but no longer as a passenger. You are directing the signal. Because the most powerful technology on Earth was never an app, or a pill, or a system. It was installed in you from the beginning. Human agency, the antidote for everything. An Esoteric Lore limited podcast series. The greatest transformation does not arrive from the future. It activates from within.
America is turning 250. 250 years since a group of imperfect men signed a perfect aspiration. Not a perfect nation, not a perfect people, not a perfect beginning, but a sentence that still judges us today. All men are created equal. 5 words that have outlived kings, wars, plantations, courtrooms, assassinations, marches, riots, elections, amendments, betrayal, and revivals. 5 words that have asked every generation the same question. Do you believe this only when it benefits you? Or do you believe it when it costs you something? Welcome to Esoteric Lore. Today's episode is called American Agency, the Republic at 250. And today we're not asking whether America is rich. We're asking whether America is mature. Because the next American dream may not be measured by the size of your house, your car in the driveway, the stock portfolio, the phone in your hand, or the title after your name. The new American dream may be this. Can we become a people who know how to treat one another? Can we build a republic where dignity is not reserved for the powerful? Can we recover the agency to disagree without dehumanizing one another? Can we become equal not in talent, not in outcome, not in opinion, but equal in moral worth? That is the unfinished dream. That is the test at 250. The United States will officially mark the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 2026. Before the American dream became a mortgage commercial, before it became a suburb, a salary, a retirement account, a lifestyle brand, it began as a spiritual proposition. It began as the claim that birth should not imprison destiny. that where you started should not determine where you end, that a person born without property, status, or aristocratic blood could still rise into the fullness of life. The phrase American Dream was popularized by historian James Adams in 1931. In the shadow of the Great Depression, he did not define it as luxury. He did not define it as excess. He defined it as social order, where each man and woman could reach their fullest stature and be recognized regardless of the accidents of birth or position. That is important because Adams was not selling greed. Adams was describing dignity. He specifically rejected the idea that the dream was only about motor cars and high wages. He understood that the American dream as a moral commonwealth, a shared condition where people could become what they were capable of becoming. Somewhere along the way, the dream was reduced. It shrank from virtue to consumption, from community to competition, from becoming more human to acquiring more things. And America began confusing abundance with agency. But abundance without agency becomes appetite, and appetite without conscience becomes an empire. So at 250, we must ask, was the American dream ever supposed to mean, I got mine? Was it that? Was that the meaning of the American dream? I got mine. Or was it always meant to mean no person's dignity should be trapped beneath another person's advantage? The dream was never just a ladder. It was supposed to be a table large enough for citizens, the immigrant, the worker, the widow, the veteran, the child, the stranger, the poor, the forgotten, and even the person who does not vote like you, pray like you, look like you, or live like you. This is not weakness. That is republic-level agency. In the Declaration of Independence, the National Archives preserves the sentence that still stands at the moral center of the American experiment. We hold these truths to be self-evident. And then the fire. All men are created equal. The Declaration continues by grounding rights in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and by saying governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. Walter Isaacson's book, The Greatest Sentence Ever Written, returns to that sentence in the 250th anniversary of our country, arguing that the line defines who Americans are and how politics should be shaped today. His publishers described the book as a deep dive into the creation of this powerful sentence. Axios reported that Isaacson's wanted American to recover common ground in the Declaration's second sentence, and that the book examines Jefferson's rough draft with edits from Franklin and John Adams. Think about that. A nation can survive bad policy. A nation can survive recession. A nation can survive scandal. But can a nation survive the loss of its founding sentence? Because all men are created equal is not a description of America in 1776. It was an accusation. It accused monarchy. It accused inherited superiority. It accused empire, but also accused America itself, because the men who wrote equality did not fully practice equality. Women were excluded from political power. Native Americans were displaced and betrayed. Enslaved Africans were held in bondage. Property, race, gender, and status shaped who counted. So the sentence was born as both promise and contradiction. And that is why it's still so powerful. A weak sentence flatters us. A great sentence confronts us. This sentence does not say you have already arrived. It says, become worthy of what you declared. That is American agency. Not denial, not nostalgia, not self-hatred. Agency is the courage to look at the founding promise and say, we have failed it. We have expanded it. We have betrayed it. We have returned to it. And now it is our turn. America's greatness has never been that it was innocent. America's greatness has been that its founding words gave later generations the tools to indict its sins. Frederick Douglass understood this. In 1852, speaking in Rochester, New York, Douglass asked the question, what to the slaves is the 4th of July? The Smithsonian notes that his speech was delivered at an Independence Day commemoration where he exposed the contradiction between national liberty and the ongoing reality of slavery. Douglass did not throw away the Declaration. He weaponized it morally. He held America's own scripture against America's behavior. That is the esoteric genius of the American experiment. The highest words of the nation became the mirror by which the nation could be judged. Then came the Civil War. Then came Reconstruction. Then came the 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, declaring birthright citizenship and equal protection under the law, extending liberties, rights to formerly enslaved people after the Civil War. Then came betrayal. Again, Jim Crow, poll taxes, literacy tests, segregation, lynch mobs, redlining, depossession, silence. Then came another wave of agency. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibited discrimination in public places, integrated public facilities, and made employment discrimination illegal. The National Archives calls it the most sweeping civil rights legislation since Reconstruction. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 law discriminating voting practices such as literacy tests and had a immediate impact, registering hundreds of thousands of new black voters by the end of 1965. This is the pattern of American history. Declaration, contradiction, struggle, expansion, backlash, renewal. America is not a straight line. America is a wrestling match between creed and appetite, between agency and domination, between all men are created equal and some people should stay in their place. That battle did not end. It simply changed clothing. Now we arrive at 250, and we must tell the truth. Democracy is not only weakened by coups, it is weakened by contempt. It is weakened by citizens, when citizens stop believing their opponents are human. It is weakened when truth becomes tribal. It is weakened when institutions become weapons. It is weakened when power becomes more sacred than principle. The data is not comforting. Pew reported that as the United States neared its 250th birthday, 62% of Americans in a spring 2025 poll were dissatisfied with the way democracy was working. Pew also reported in late 2025 that only 17% of Americans said they trusted the federal government in Washington to do what is right, just about always, or most of the time, one of the lowest measures in nearly 7 decades. Freedom House's 2026 country report still rated the United States as free, but gave us a score of 81 out of 100, down from 84 the previous year. Cited polarization, money in politics, discrimination, and weakened federal institutional performances as contributing to the problem. VDem's 2026 democracy report was even more severe. It stated that the United States lost its long-term status as a liberal democracy for the first time in over 50 years, while global democracy for the average citizen had fallen back to 1978 levels. Now, listeners, hear this carefully. This is not a call to panic. This is a call to agency, because democracy is not self-executing. A republic is not a machine that runs forever because the founders wound it up in 1776. A republic is a living nervous system. It requires attention, restraint, truth. It requires citizens who can regulate themselves before they try to rule others. And that is why human agency is not just a personal development concept. It is a civic survival skill. A person without agency becomes reactive. A crowd without agency becomes dangerous. A nation without agency becomes vulnerable to demagogues, algorithms, fear, and revenge. Democracy weakens when citizens outsource their consciousness. Let's talk about equity, not as a slogan, not as a partisan weapon, not as a corporate training word. Equity at its deepest level is emotional. It asks, do I see your pain as real, even when it is not mine? Do I see your child as worthy of safety, like my child? Do I see your dignity as non-negotiable, even when I disagree with your politics? Do I understand that being born into disadvantage does not mean being born into lesser humanity. This is where American dreams must mature. The old dream said, "Can I climb?" The new dream asked, "Can we stop building systems where some children begin life under the floor?" The old dream said, "Can I own more?" The new dream asked, "Can I recognize more?" The old dream said, "How high can I rise?" The new dream asks, "Who is being crushed beneath the way I rise?" This does not mean every person gets the same outcome. That is not life. That is not liberty. That is not agency. Agency requires effort, responsibility, discipline, moral choice, and personal ownership. But equity says the starting line matters, the rules matter, the school matters, the neighborhood matters, the courtroom matters, the ballot matters, the way police power is used matters, the way wealth shapes voice matters, the way we speak about the poor, the immigrant, the addict, the prisoner, the elderly, and the unborn future matters. Because a republic is not measured only by how it treats winners. A republic is measured by how we treat the vulnerable. At 250, the question is no longer how much can I accumulate? The question is, what kind of person am I becoming while I accumulate? Because if the American dream produces wealth without empathy, comfort without consciousness, freedom without responsibility, then it has become spiritually malnourished. The new American dream is not anti-success. It's anti-soullessness. Equity is emotional, but it is also empirical. We can measure the stress fractures. Gallup Poll's 2026 American Dream Study found that Americans most often associate the dream with personal freedom or individual rights, financial security or home ownership and success, upward mobility, but less than half, 46%, agree that everyone in the country has the opportunity to achieve them. That is the empirical wound. The dream still lives, but many Americans do not believe access to it is evenly available. Gallup also found that 58% of Americans say that the American dream is unfinished. That is not failure, that is diagnosis. The Census Bureau reported that the median household income in 2024 was $83,000, and not statistically different than 2023. While the 90th percentile rose and the 10th and 50th percentiles did not significantly change, it also reported that the female to male earnings ratio fell for the second consecutive year. That matters because democracy is not only weakened by ideology, it is weakened when ordinary people feel the latter is real for others but decorative for them. When the courthouse feels distant, when the school feels broken, when rent rises faster than hope, when work no longer guarantees dignity, when loneliness replaces community, when citizens feel unseen, they become vulnerable to rage. When citizens feel unheard, they become vulnerable to conspiracy. When citizens feel disposable, they become vulnerable to anyone who offers them a target. This is why equity is not merely moral, it's stabilizing. A society with fairer access to dignity produces citizens with more agency. A citizen with more agency are harder to manipulate. The empirical case for equity is this: when people believe the system is rigged, they withdraw, radicalize, or despair. When people believe they are treated fairly, they are more likely to participate, trust, build, vote, serve, and sacrifice. Equity is not the enemy of freedom. Equity is the soil where freedom can grow and become dominant. Now, let's go deeper. The existential question is not, can America survive? Powerful countries can survive for a long time while becoming spiritually hollow. The real question is, can America remain worthy of survival? At 250, America stands before a mirror. In that mirror are the founders and the enslaved, the soldier and the protester, the immigrant and the border guard, the billionaire and the single mother, the rural town and the crowded city, the church bell and the prison gate, the flag and the scar. And the mirror asks, what do you mean by equal? Equal does not mean identical. Equal does not mean all lives unfold the same way. Equal does not erase excellence, discipline, merit, or consequence. Equal means no human being is born with a smaller claim to dignity. Equal means the law should not bend towards money. Equal means the vote should not be treated as a privilege for the favored. Equal means disagreement is not permission to dehumanize. Equal means your suffering does not become invisible because it is inconvenient to my worldview. Equal means the stranger is not outside the moral circle. This is where American agency becomes esoteric, because every republic begins externally with laws, borders, documents, offices, armies, but every republic survives internally, inside the citizen's consciousness. A constitution can restrain a tyrant only if citizens have already restrained the tyrant inside themselves. That tyrant is part of us. It's the part of us that says, my side deserves power without limits. My pain matters more than yours. My fear justifies cruelty. My tribe is truth. My comfort is innocence. My success proves my superiority. That is the inner monarchy. And the American Revolution is not complete until the inner king is overthrown. That is the republic within. That is American agency. So, what do we do? Not abstractly, practically. At 250, American agency begins with 5 civic disciplines. First, refuse dehumanization. Do not let politicians, influencers, or algorithms train you to see fellow citizens as vermin, enemies, traitors, animals, disposable bodies. Once language strips dignity, policy follows. Second, practice truth before tribe. A citizen with agency does not ask, does this help my side? First, a citizen with agency asks, is this true? Third, rebuild local trust. Democracy is not only saved in Washington, it is saved at school boards, food banks, churches, libraries, town halls, unions, small businesses, neighborhood cleanups, and around the dinner table. Fourth, defend equal protection. The 14th Amendment is not a museum piece. It is a living demand that law must not become a costume for unequal treatment. Fifth, measure the dream by human flourishing, not just GDP, not just the Dow, not just home size, not just personal branding. Ask, are children safe? Are workers dignified? Are elders remembered? Are citizens heard? Are laws fair? Are schools alive? Are neighborhoods becoming strangers or kin? That is the new American dream. No less ambition, but higher ambition. The ambition to become a people who can hold power without worshiping it. Ambition to become free without becoming cruel. The ambition to become prosperous without becoming numb. The ambition to become equal in dignity without remaining diverse in dignity and destiny. That is equity. That is agency. That is the Republic's next initiation. America at 250 is not ending. It is at a threshold. The Declaration was not a trophy. It was not a vow. And every generation must decide whether to inherit the vow or merely decorate itself with the symbols. Flags are easy. Fireworks are easy. Patriotic language is easy. The hard work is treating people as if the sentence is true. All men are created equal. Not created equally convenient, not created equally profitable, not created equally agreeable, created equal. Period. The Republic does not need citizens who worship the past. It needs citizens who can redeem the promise. It needs citizens with agency, citizens who can pause before hatred, think before reacting, listen before condemning, serve before boasting, vote before complaining, build before burning, tell the truth before protecting the tribe, and love the country enough to correct it. Because love without correction is sentiment. Correction without love is contempt. But love with correction, that is mature agency. So as America turns 250, let us make this our oath. We will not measure the American dream only but by what we own. We will measure it by what we honor. We will measure it by whether a child born far from power can still reach the fullness of life. We will measure it by whether the law protects the weak from the strong. We will measure it by whether disagreement can remain human. We will measure it by whether freedom produces dignity. And we will measure it by whether the sentence still burns in us, not as nostalgia, not as propaganda, as responsibility. America is not finished. The dream is not finished. The sentence is not finished. And neither are we. This is Esoteric Lore. And this is American Agency, the Republic at 250.
There's a moment after you hear something true when it lands in your body. Not as an idea, but as a decision. I don't want to keep living on autopilot. Because autopilot isn't weakness, it's your nervous system running fast patterns under pressure. That's why smart people still snap, scroll, avoid, and repeat. Here's the reframe that matters. You are not your reactions. A reaction is a surge. You are the one who can interrupt it. Not by calming down perfectly, but by creating a small gap, a pause, seconds of space where choice becomes possible. That's also why insight alone doesn't change behavior. Under stress, knowledge disappears. Skills don't. Skills are trained. The Agency Academy book gives you the blueprint. It explains what's happening and where your leverage actually is. The Pause app is the training ground. It helps you practice in real moments when it's hard. If you're tired of reacting, go to iwillpause.com. Start training, claim the book, and choose differently in the next moment that matters.
If you like this video, please subscribe, share, and give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you next time.